There we go. I think we're up and running. Another beautiful, beautiful winter day. Well, spring day here in Tokyo. Blue sky. You can't see it in the camera there, but it's blue, blue, blue sky. Apparently, we're coming to the end of our good weather this evening. It's going to start raining for the next few days, I guess. So we're told. And the camera, I can't put the camera in its exactly normal place today because the sun is shining directly into it. So I've pulled it back. The coffee shop is open across the street. They have opened again after their shutdown for 6 weeks, 2 months, was it? Don't know if you've noticed it before, but you see towards the right-hand side of the view there, there's an electrical box right next to the light pole there. There's an electrical box, and that's where kids put their tags, their stickers. The graffiti guys will spray that box or put their band stickers on it, and they won't touch anything else. Very polite. A 1UP sticker, do you recognize something there? I don't, 1UP, yeah. I think they're mostly local bands. I know back in the old days, last year, 2 years ago, there were, foreign bands. You'd see stickers for overseas bands. But there's the two twins. Are they late today? 8:01. No, they normally go by about 8:10 or so. 8:05, 8:10. Why are they running today? What's the sticker on the lamp post? I know it's an explanation panel for the guy whose picture is up top. It's a little miniature life story of the guy. There's one on each of the posts. I think there's 18 posts. I can't remember how many there are. With 2 people on each post. There's a whole bunch of these. They all have a capsule biography. Paper is out. She's already working. It's Ishikawa-san. She's upstairs working already. In fact, that's what this is. She brought me this block asking for a fix. Recognize where it is? Anybody? I don't know. It's one of the blocks for the 4th print in this year's subscription series, which is due to be shipping in about 10 days from now. It ain't ready. We're still printing. We haven't got any batch finished. We are way behind. Way behind. Anyway, they've been doing their test printing. We have decided on a final version, and a couple of the blocks need to be adjusted. So I have a very small amount of persuading to do this morning before we start the regular work. This area, they want this area off, and I concur. When Chon-san made these blocks, it was a complicated color separation. A lot of colors, we really couldn't figure what was going on. So we carved more blocks than we needed. And this zone turned out, it's a peacock head, or a pheasant head. This zone was on 6 blocks, and it's just not needed. This bottom green just didn't show. So we have 2 or 3 minutes of persuading here. This does indeed look like a tail. So there's a pair of pheasants here. Okay, small amount of tapping here. Are we earthquaking? I think that'll do us. Okay. Funny though, working on a block like this wasn't carved by me, it was carved by Cheon-Sam. And if I look at it now, I'm thinking, oh my God, no, I've got to carve deeper, deeper, deeper. He's really carving too shallowly, always still. It's a bit of a nightmare for the printers. We've gone back and forth with him over this many, many times. This corner is too shallow. There's a huge risk of the paper contacting. Here too. It's way too shallow here. This needs to come off. Just a few minutes extra work for the carver and much, much more relaxed for the printers and fewer spoiled copies. It's our Oshibori-man, is it? Oh, sorry, that reminds me, there is news. There's community news, I know, neighborhood news. Well, Cheon-Sam's never done any printing, but his partner, Rei-chan's a printer. I mean, like, she tells him. About the news. Next door, the sign went up yesterday. I wasn't here, actually. I was out for a walk yesterday afternoon. And when I got back, it was done. The sign was done. Got a photograph. I took a quick snapshot. Oops, it's in there twice. Sorry, just a second. Took a quick snapshot. Whatever, someone's got a question about what is time. I know there's a time and space for talking about certain things, and there's a time and a space for not. I'm not going to try and wrestle with something like that in the middle of a stream. So it looks like an interesting idea there, but not in the middle of all this. Did you notice on the sign that went up next door? It was, as soon as I saw that it was in English, I thought, oops, here we go. And my eye ran over the lettering. And no, I don't see any obvious spelling mistakes there, but they have made a typography mistake in the sign. I think it's a mistake or it's an executive decision, I don't know. I don't think it says Buru, it says Baru. You've got your katakana wrong. It's Baru. Okay, that's done. That's out of the way. Ishikawa-san, she's going to come downstairs and pick it up sometime soon. She may join the stream here, whatever. Okay, back to work. Back to normal work. Suki-san was moistening 2 at a time. Is this correct? There's no correct or incorrect here. Moistening is whatever you need to do to get that stack ready for printing. It depends how quickly you're going to want to use this. If you want to use this a half an hour from now, or if you want to use it 2 days from now. In other words, is there going to be time for the moisture to really spread around? If you've got time, then you can moisten them a batch at a time. You could bring 2 or 3 or 4, boom, water, lots of water. 2 or 3 or 4, bang, lots of water. And then over the day or so that you're waiting, the water will seep through the package. If you want to use it more quickly than that, then you have to water them fewer at a time, 2 at a time maybe, or possibly even 1 at a time. It takes a shorter amount of time for the water to percolate through the stack. It's usually our habit here, generally, we would moisten one day, we would never print the same day, we would print the next day. And these guys are putting it in the freezer. They moisten it, put it in the freezer, bring it out, and then print it. And when it's in the freezer, there's not a whole lot of time for the water to percolate through the stack because it's frozen. So they have to keep that in mind. But 2 at a time, like she did on that video, was completely normal for us. It also depends on the thickness of the paper. If the paper's super thick, you've got to absolutely do it fewer sheets at a time. No, having that sign in English is not strange here at all. Absolutely not strange here at all. Even if there were no tourists around. Their market actually isn't tourists. They don't have an English menu. They're not set up for tourists. Their menu is the domestic market here. But having that up there, what does it say? It says something beef, wine, beer. Not unusual at all. Anybody here can read those, of course. Anybody can read those. It's a mood they're trying to convey. If it was strictly Japanese, it would be an image of whatever, an older, more traditional image. They're trying to show that their menu is modern, hip, international. So even though they've got Wagyu, Japanese beef, they're trying to show a more modern approach, absolutely. The new video, thanks. Yeah, there's lots of comments. We are, I shouldn't say surprised. It sounds like that's not so polite to Cameron. But the reaction was much better than we expected. I expected a whole lot of, oh my God, this is not David, let's go back to the old way. And we really thought there would be much more of that. There wasn't. There was very little of it. So both Cameron and I are really happy about the reaction to this video. Notification settings. I don't know what to do about that. We have 120,000 subscribers. Huge numbers of them have clicked the bell. YouTube simply does not send notifications to everybody. I don't even know if they pretend to anymore, but they don't do that. They send notifications to some subset of subscribers. Even people who have clicked the bell mark. You know. I found that myself with channels that I myself am subscribed to. It'll be, hey, I haven't heard from that guy for a while. I'll go over there and I'll find like 10 new videos. So YouTube's notification system is, well, the easy word to say is it's broken. It doesn't work the way it's advertised to work. I'm not quite sure why they're doing that. Are they moving forward to a system where they're going to ask you to pay to do that, like Facebook did years ago? Facebook used to send your new posts to all your followers, then they stopped, and they send it to a random group of them, and if you want to send to more, click here to spend your money. And maybe YouTube is working towards that. I don't know. I think YouTube clearly somewhere down the line wants to be a subscription system where people pay to subscribe to stuff with no ads. And then the content creators pay to have it sent out, you know. Do I know Shinohara-san? Yes, of course I know Shinohara-san. He visited here 2 years ago or so. He's a good friend of Asuka Sensei. I know Asuka Motoharu, my friend, the carver here. So. Well, Cameron's here this morning. Are you still here? You haven't got on the train yet. Cameron's coming over today. I guess when he's finished getting his paperwork done this morning, when I'm finished the stream, Cameron and I are going to big business planning, personal planning. Cameron, if I can say this publicly, it's nothing bad to say about him. Cameron got great reviews this last few days. The video went up. And like I said, I had been worried that there would be a lot of people saying, I don't want this, I want Dave. I had really been worried there would be so much of that. There was a little bit of it, but the reviews were great. Cameron got great reviews for this movie. People commented about the narration, the production. It's just happy all around. So he's coming over this morning for a performance review. He waits till that video goes up. I'm laughing about this, whatever. No, we've got lots and lots of things. He's been teleworking now for, it's a year, pretty much exactly a year. In fact, not only is it a year for teleworking, so 18th, yesterday was 1 year. The shop has been dead for 1 year as of yesterday. I think Cameron went home to do teleworking a little bit before we closed the shop. I'm not sure. He had the baby, they had the baby, so I'm not sure. So it's been a year. It's been a year. So he and I, we're going to maybe go for a walk, and we have lots and lots of business planning to talk about today. So. Actually, perhaps a little bit early, we were chatting about this the other day, what day to come in, wait till the cherry blossoms are up and we can, go for a walk and see cherry blossoms. But there's almost nothing open yet here in Tokyo. There's a few in Ueno Park, but nothing much. One year, 1 year. Although I was looking at it the other day, when I closed the shop last year, it was before the government closed stuff down. It wasn't until nearly the end of March and beginning of April that the government started to shut stuff down. So we closed before that. And we were concerned about it. There'd been a couple of incidents in that week before. We had a print party with a group from Italy. And this was like in the second week of March, the first week of March last year. And that was just at the time Italy was really getting hit hard. Remember, it was one of the first countries that was being clobbered by this thing. And they were stacking bodies in the streets and stuff like this. And we had a group from Italy, all of whom were coughing. And okay, it was no sense for panic, but we didn't know whether it was this virus here in Japan. There was the big thing about the cruise ship. It was all over the place. It was in the air. Am I going to die? And one of our staff members, I won't mention her name, one of our staff members really got scared by this. She has a physician in the family, and he said, get your ass out of there. Get home. Just get away from the public. And she did. And then that experience, and then just overall, I did the party with those people, and they're coughing all over the bench, and I thought, do I really want to be doing this, So, whatever, we pulled the plug. March 17th last year, we pulled the plug on this, just shut the shop. And then a few weeks later, as I said, the government decided to start shutting things down. We weren't in line for government assistance like the restaurants and things are, but it didn't matter. We just had to do that. So. And then whatever, we sat down, Cameron and I sat down with this, and Aoyama-san, a bunch of us sat down and thought, okay, what do we have to do now? So within the next couple of weeks, over the last couple of weeks of March last year, we tried to restructure our business so that it was online. We turned into a completely online business. Asakusa had been 43% of our revenue, and that just simply disappeared, turned off. The tap just got turned off straight away. So we did two things right away. One is I spent a couple of nights, I did a job that I had been postponing for years. I took the online catalog and subscription sign-up pages and the online catalog and the shopping cart, and I made them all mobile friendly. I made them what they call responsive, so that they look sensible on a small device. And then we sent out a campaign. We did the campaign. If you can't come to Japan, Japan will come to you. And it got huge response. And we were up and running, and we haven't looked back. We've now recovered the overall sales level. We've recovered to what it was before the virus hit, even though 43% of it has disappeared. So. And the other thing that hit soon after that, just when we got the online thing really up and running strongly, then the postal systems collapsed. And that was a real hit, and we are still very much struggling, I don't know if Cameron's chatting with you here about the work he's doing, but a huge amount of his time and energy now is struggling with and working around postal problems and missing packages and return packages and when's my package going to come and stuff like this. This is Cameron's just, it's his single biggest, if he could just erase that from his life, it's his single biggest frustration. He may be talking about it already, I don't know. Cameron sent me last night, he sent me, there's an update from the Japanese post office. News. We can now ship air to Afghanistan. We can't to the US yet, but we can to Afghanistan. Like, I guess there's so many flights going back and forth, I don't even know. That's what it's like now. So that was last night's news. We can now ship air to Afghanistan. Oh, I see someone there's asking about Awagami. How did the talks go? It's like there was a big conference. The lady came over, very, I was really surprised. Me and Aoyama-san spoke to her. I had intended to pull Cameron in on Skype, but I forget why we didn't do that. I can't remember. She was very nice. Her name is Kudo-san, and she is the Tokyo area rep for Awagami. They used to have a Tokyo office. They closed it last year. I guess they're retrenching a little bit, pulling back. But she works from home now, and she was so knowledgeable. Aoyama-san and I, when she left, we were like, did you see what just happened? She's showing us the samples and talking about the samples, and we're talking about the pH level of the paper and looking at the chiri and where does the pulp made, and the people in Thailand who are preparing their kozo, what temperature do they do the boiling at, and what kind of alkali do they put in it when they're doing what's called a nidu. And she knew all this stuff. She answered our questions. She knew all this stuff, technical details about the alkalinity of the solution used to boil the kozo fibers. And I'm like, let's talk. So it was a great conversation. I have huge respect already. My respect for Awagami has already been good. We don't use their paper for our stuff because it doesn't match what we need. But my respect for the organization has always been good, and it is now really, really improved. These people are they're on it. Anyway, long story short, she showed me all their papers. She bought samples and samples. There's nothing there that I can use still, because they don't really do the traditional type perfect Kizuki Hosho made with domestic fiber, blah, 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 blah. This is just not their needs. They haven't tried to do that. So they have no paper for me. But what we grilled her on and what she left me some samples on are, look, do you have a bunch of papers that will be suitable for, and it's to pick a word, someone like Karen here. They want to make Japanese prints really beautifully, highly good quality. They want to make paper that's going to last X hundred years. They can't spend the money that I can afford to spend on it. They also, because they're beginners, sometimes they maybe waste a lot of sheets and need practice sheets. So we explained and talked about the needs of our overseas people. Everything from beginners who are going to throw away 99 sheets out of 100 up to people like Karen who are making editions for sale. And we showed her the prints, we showed her the needs, we showed her the requirements. And she's like, we have to think about this. So she left me a bunch of samples of papers that she thinks from her current catalog might be suitable for this. They're on my desk right now, and actually starting this weekend I will be chopping them up and doing it and giving them to Suga-san and Ishikawa-san to throw into their normal batches for testing. We're just going to test it as though it was normal paper for us. And the idea that to take this forward, she's going to work on creating paper for this need, and we're going to work on, out of their current catalog, if there's something that we really think we can recommend, we will simply start doing this. When Cameron gets one of those endless emails that come X times a week saying, Dave, help me, where do I get good paper? What do I do? What do I buy this? What do I need? All that stuff. Cameron gets all kinds of mail like this. We will then be able to reckon, look, here's what you want to do. Go and get Awagami 7452, 646, or whatever the code number or something is. So that's where it sits. Discussions have started. I'm very impressed by what their approach. Whether or not they will actually have a product that will work, I don't know. She probably, when she left the other day, she probably walked down the street, headed for a coffee shop and said, Jesus, what a grilling. I don't know. There was nothing on last time. We were just talking about paper, of course not. I don't mean to imply that we were stressing her. But yeah, she got tested for sure, That wasn't the idea, but yeah, she got tested. Very interesting session. About 2 hours she was here. I should check in. I'm sorry I keep forgetting to check in on the stream here. There was at one point, something she did, she had a bunch of stuff in her bags, whatever. She pulled out a print from her bag. It was the Great Wave. And I really had to be careful, and I did the right thing here. Dave backed away here. She brought out a Great Wave and said, look at this, she was really excited about this. And she thought it was really exciting. And it was printed on a paper that was made from bamboo fiber. I mean, this is one of the things that Awagami does, is they are constantly exploring and trying stuff and doing new things and trying to work things out. And somebody had printed this Great Wave on bamboo fiber, and she was proud of it for two reasons. She was proud of this idea. Look, we don't have to worry about the old kozo. There are new ways to do things. Let's explore. And I myself really actually wasn't too interested in this, but I listened to her pitch, whatever. But what gave me worse trouble here at this point, and as I said, I was a good boy, I didn't say anything, but it was so badly carved and printed, I mean, Awagami didn't make it, just it was some printmaker somewhere made it. And my God, it was awful. And Aoyama-san looked at me over this thing, Dave is here inspecting this, she's giving it to me, and Dave's inspecting this, thinking about, what do I say, what do I say? But it's okay. It's okay. They're paper makers. They're not printers. They're paper makers, So at that point, actually, in my mind, I was thinking, I should maybe go and get our copy and show it to her and say. But no, I just kept quiet. It was okay. You don't have to try and prove points to everybody, and whatever. There's no reason to push that. So. But very interesting experience, and I have very full of positive thoughts about this. It may really lead to something. The other paper making place, other than Awagami, the other paper making place is the other one. The people next door to Iwano-san. I've forgotten their name. Not Kubota. Karen, help me. What's the name of that paper maker? The one living next to Iwano-san, making Hosho type paper. Kitaro. Thank you. This also looks really promising. These are this is a paper-making family. It's in the they're in the house next to Iwano-san. And they are making a very similar kind of paper. They make Hosho paper. They also make it mixed with pulp, which Iwano-san doesn't do, which is not suitable for me, but whatever. And these people also, they're hip. Somebody in the family knows about the internet. They've got interesting web page. They're trying to show stuff, Instagram, this and that. They're shipping overseas, or trying to. And this also looks interesting. I haven't actually yet seen a sheet of the paper here, and I can't actually buy any. We've chatted about this before. I know these people are neighbors of Iwano-san, and I should get somebody to do this for me, because I'd like to see the paper, but I can't order from them. I can just imagine the guy over the fence saying, "Hey, we got an order from that guy in Tokyo, the one you were telling us about, blah blah blah," And Iwano-san hears this, I'm ordering their paper, and it would not make things easy. So, but I hear good things about the paper, and it's cheap. Wow, is it cheap compared to Iwano-san? So Iwano-san, remember, he has the Living National Treasure Premium on his paper. I'm a bit sad about that, but but that's the way it is. Once you're a Living National Treasure, your price is basically doubled or whatever. So Kitaro's prices are very reasonable in comparison. But the quality, as I said, I have yet to hold a sheet in my hand, so I don't know. We're doing claws here. This is tough. Puppy claws. What did you do in the war, Daddy? I carved puppy claws. That's Max there next. So. Which question, Dave, do I feel weird when meeting fans? They know so much about you. No, fans are fun, I mean, these days there's no fans here, of course, but if you go back a year and a half, this was every day. It was part of every day's routine. If I was downstairs, I'm sitting at the bench, people come in the door and, wow, nice to see you, and I'm happy to see people, I'm okay. I'm not so stupidly famous as to be bored by that stuff. It's fine. When people like what we're doing, it's pleasure for all of us all around. Say hi, chat for a minute, take a selfie. It just feeds ego, you know, whatever. And we're not at the point where it's something that's tiresome and boring, you know. There has been something recently that has been, sometimes the fans make a request. Like Cameron and I, he's on the stream here, he's gone home already to get to work. Cameron and I were, we got a weird one a couple of weeks ago. In fact, the people actually who did the request were on the stream the other day, K&K. People asked us, Dave and Cameron, will you marry us? You know, and so Cameron and I were the witnesses to this person's marriage, you know. Yeah, it was a funny afternoon. That was a funny afternoon. So. And then I got one in my mail now last night, and I'm not sure about this. It could be the person could be here, so I'm not sure. I got to be careful what I say. It's a lady whose boyfriend, I guess, or partner, whatever word, I'm sorry, is a real super fan of ours, and it's his birthday, and she wants a special birthday present for him. And we get this kind of request. And for me to write a note, that's easy. We do that quite often. Every month or so, somebody asks to do that. And they get a print, and I send a note together with the print. But this one's a bit different. They want a video message. And I'm not sure if I want to go that far. They're going to have a big party with people from all over the place, and they want me to do a video message that they'll play at the party. And I don't know. That's where I sort of think, really, I don't know what's reasonable to ask, and I don't know. Something in me says that's a little bit too much to ask, and if I do it there and they talk about it, somebody else will ask, and away we go. And I don't know about that one. The little polite message, thank you for your enthusiasm and support of our work. Dave, best wishes. That's totally no problem. I'm really happy to do those. What's happening? I've had breakfast, you know. I had a nice cup of mild decaf and a nice little scone. Should I move the mic up a bit higher out of the way? I don't know. Moving the mic up higher, hopefully it'll, whatever. New patron to your birthday video messages. Cameron, I'm sorry, you're fired. I do not want to do this. So good. Vivid KP, you have held a sheet of the Kitaro paper. The candy. Okay. Sorry. I stand corrected. All right. Sorry about that. Well, what I mean is, I've had breakfast, please. The thing is, I'm bent over. I'm on a little bench here. I'm bent over, leaning over. So even if it's whatever. It's not about the money. I mean, these people asked me to do a greetings video for their birthday. They didn't offer money, and I didn't ask. That's irrelevant. It's just the precedent. It's the precedent. Also the time, I set up the lights, set up everything, do all this. You're talking about an hour or so at least, I don't have a phone. So I don't know. I think I will respectfully decline. But the selfies have been fun over the past couple of years in the shop. It's fun, I don't know who these people are, and they know I don't know, and it's okay. It doesn't matter. It's just a happy, friendly face. And if our prints, whether it's rickshaw cart prints or the YouTube or the Twitch stream or whatever, if our stuff has just made some people happy and enjoying life, that's good enough for us. That's what it's all about, you know. Carved Batman. No, I'm not going to do the one. Jed has at least one and a couple of Batman images, and I can't do that. I can't touch that stuff. And again, we've talked about this many times. Jed gets away with that because copyright regulations and stuff are what they are in different countries. Here, they are nowhere near as loosey-goosey as they seem to be over there. Plus, it's a question of me personally having interest in the images that we carve. So I won't be doing that one, no. We talked about that on stream, I think, last week or so. The next Ukiyo Heroes print has been conceived. It's at the very first stage of conception. The seed of the idea has been planted, and X months from now there will be a print. And it's the... I forget the name, I'm sorry. It's the one about, in Jed's catalog, about the armies that invade Tsushima Island. I forget the name of the game, I'm sorry. It's not at all internalized to me yet. I think it's a new game that came out last year, and Jed's picture, when I saw it, and again, I don't know the game at all, but seeing the picture, I'm thinking I can do something with that one. So we've started the process. Jed has sent me his Photoshop layering file, and we're going to start thinking about how to turn that into a print. But resources. We are really strained now. Keeping up with the subscription prints, we've got to keep moving forward on the Neko Hake. So that print, that next Ukiyo Heroes has to stand in line behind those things. Maybe Cameron today, when he comes over to talk about work and jobs and stuff like that, maybe his news is he's going to quit and become a printer. Maybe that's his idea. Who knows? I don't know. Yeah, Ghost of Tsushima. This should not be difficult for me to remember. We're doing it. It's planned. As I said, the very first stage of what will be a long stage to get the print made was a show and tell mentioned. We have a fun show and tell today. We have a fun show and tell. I can't say I'm going to blow your socks off, although there may be a sock loosened here and there. But it's going to be a fun show and tell. And there won't be a woodblock print in sight. It's all what we call insatsubutsu. Remember we opened that scroll, the fart scroll, a few weeks ago, and it turned out to be insatsubutsu. I sent it back to the guy. I got my money back, by the way. People are asking about that. I got my money back. So Kevin, I thought it was forbidden from touching the tools. So where do we need you the most? so. Okay, actually that reminds me too. There's something else I meant to mention. I got to do some work here. Did I talk about the video from the? I did. I already talked about this. The video from the bag company. The company in Kyoto that makes bags. Did I talk about that? The video the other day that came around. Someone saying yes, someone saying no. Did I talk about the video? No, not the handbags with Ukiyo. No, I got no time for that. No time for that. Cameron, do you have a link to that video then? Can Cameron perhaps mention this? The video came to, I saw it on Reddit, Artisan Videos. It was linked there. It's from a media company in Singapore. And they're sort of, it's a rich upscale crap series of videos. But they linked to a company in Kyoto making bags, as in like shoulder bags and stuff. They've been making them for 100 years. They make them out of hemp canvas. And so apparently these are, really, really to die for type bags. Anyway, my interest is not in the bags, but in the video itself, they talked about their apprentices. And something they said, I sat up, I replayed it again, and I thought, I wonder if that has any application for us. So I tried an experiment. I went upstairs yesterday after I got back from my walk. I went upstairs and Suga-san was there printing. Ishikawa-san's there today, but yesterday it was Suga-san printing. So I tried an experiment. I explained to her about the system of apprenticeships that were in that video. Without, I wasn't trying to say, here, we're going to do this or something. I was just saying, hey, Suga-san, let me tell you about an interesting video I saw the other day. And I explained to her about what was in that video. And her first reaction was, oh my God, I hope you're not planning that here. Are you really? No. And I knew she would say that. But then I moved forward and explained something else about it to her. And she said, oh. Have we got links here? Someone's got the video linked. Okay, yeah, watch it later. Now, we're not going to make bags. It was how their approach to their apprentices. In that video, they touched on their apprentice system there. They didn't dig in too deeply. This was a promo video for the bag, so they didn't dig into it too deeply. And on the surface, wow, that looks like a good idea. In practice, I don't know. But anyway, long story short, what it was that company, they don't have a sort of generic apprentice program. What they do is they pair people up, and they pair them up in the workshop physically. Each of their main craftsmen, again, I'm just parroting what I see in the video. How much of this is true and how much is exaggerated, I don't know. But anyway, in the video, each of their main craftsmen has his bench where he makes the bags. It's one guy, two guys, three, maybe one was a woman, I can't remember. There's 4 or 5 of these craftsmen working in a row. They have a workstation. It's got the bench, their tools, everything is around them. This is where they do their magic. And facing them across the aisle there was their apprentices. And it was 1-to-1. Each craftsperson, whatever the word is these days, sorry, each craftsperson had an apprentice assigned. And that apprentice was learning from this craftsman, but in essence, that apprentice was an assistant to this craftsperson. So the shokunin, the main person, would, oh, here, cut this, bang, here, prepare this, here, do this, here, sew that stuff on. So actually, the apprentice is a personal production assistant to the craftsman. Of course, I'm not saying that in a cynical way. It's a great way to learn how to do the step-by-steps of all this process. So when I first mentioned this to Suga-san, her initial reaction was terror. My God, I've got to teach that person everything. I'll never get any work done. How on earth could I possibly work if I'm personally responsible for the entire teaching of a person 1-to-1? That's the bad side from her point of view. I get it. But then I said, think about the good side. Once this person has been here half a year, 1 year, 2 years, they're going to do a term of, say, 3 years here. In the video, they talked about 7, which I think is kind of overdoing it. I said, think about this. Once that person has got some facility, they are your assistant. They're going to do this, they're going to do this, they're going to do this. You're going to do the difficult stuff, they're going to do the easy stuff. And you're the one who is still getting paid for these prints. The company's paying for the apprentice. You're getting your pay based on how many prints you make, and your productivity, once that person gets a bit better to help you, your productivity is going to soar. Your paycheck will double, or whatever. And she's like, So there's two sides to this. So we are going to talk about this and explore this. Because we've really been stuck. We are still stuck. It's one of the things Cameron and I are going to try and hash out today in our little walk and talk. How do we get more people started as printers when none of us here, me, right down through everybody, when none of us here have a minute to spare on teaching, how do we get more people started? So I don't know, there's no magic thing that's going to change dramatically because I saw that video, but there's an interesting angle there that we are going to try and incorporate into our thinking on this. A way to make our own printers more interested in teaching the beginners. And the way through that is if it turns out to be financially in their benefit. We're okay for time? Yeah. How did they handle apprentices in the old times? It was relatively easy then for two or three different reasons. Imagine you've got a vivid, thriving workshop. Remember, it's not like a struggling industry. There's a thriving workshop. People are working, selling stuff. Any given workshop, a typical workshop would have a couple of older dudes, middle-aged dudes, younger dudes. There would be a mix of different people in there. Older guys are getting near the end, going to have to retire. The workshop manager's thinking, I need some more, we're going to need to start another guy pretty soon. So he puts out the word in the community. And somebody down the street has got a kid who's just become 12. These are boys. Now, there's no girls involved at that point. The boy has become 12 or 13. He's maybe okay at school or not doing well at school. So they say, okay, look, here, time, you would say it's March, you're finished school, go down the street there to that workshop, the one in the blah, blah. Kid says, what do they do down there? I think they make prints, I'm not sure. They're looking for a kid. Go down and talk to him. Here, away you go. The kid will be sent down there. Oh, good, okay, you start today. Bang, there you go. The kid doesn't choose the job. Everybody's sent to work. Their parents and the workshop master arrange things. The kid is just sent there. he starts work. Bang. He didn't choose this. He doesn't know if he likes it or dislikes it. It doesn't matter. Nobody chooses their job. They're sent to it. Get to work. He starts working on simple stuff. They're making food wrappers. So on the first day, he can be productive because they're selling food wrappers to the neighborhood food shop. There's work available for apprentices. So there you've got a kid sent to a job. He's going to do it starting today. He's going to get paid next to nothing, but he does get paid next to nothing. And he's productive from day one on very simple work. Now it's a completely different work. Somebody comes here to learn how to make prints. We're busy trying to make our subscription prints. More than 500 subscription prints are leaving here every month. They've all got to be as perfect as we can make them. There's no work for somebody on their first day. Whatever he does on his first day is just going to get thrown away. His second day, 6 months, 1 year, you name it. That's our problem in the industry these days, this printmaking thing. There's no ladder anymore. There's no ladder from 1 to 10. There's 0, hi, come on in, sit down, and there's 10, Suga-san, your work can go out. And without a ladder for someone to gradually climb step by step by step by step, we're screwed. So the idea that I was just proposing a minute ago, that somebody comes in and that person is going to be an assistant to Suga-san, paid for by the workshop as a whole. We're just going to bite the bullet and pay for this person, take money from Patreon, our trainee premium fund. That's what these things are for. Pay this person even though they can't do anything, and cross our fingers that they are actually going to get good enough to be able to touch the work that's going out of the place as soon as possible. And then once we've invested the time in them, the 1 year or 2 years, hope that they are actually going to stay and not say, this is boring, I'm going to quit, I'm leaving. And you're back to square one. So there's a huge paradox, a huge paradox. It wasn't a problem for me because I trained myself over a period of a lot of years, So, okay, yeah, we need simpler work. Okay, convince one of the food stores down the street to wrap some of their products in printed woodblock wrapping. I tried this actually back in 2011, 2012. I tried this when I was first hiring people at Mokuhankan. Tsushima-san, our first printer. That's the first stuff she printed was food wrappers. I made a deal with a manju shop. They were selling senbei shop, ome senbei. And we designed and printed by woodblock the wrapper for them. And he put a sign on the counter of his shop. Box of senbei, 12 senbei for whatever it was, 1,200 yen. These were gifts. People buy the gift when they're visiting somebody in hospital or whatever, dropping in on somebody. You've got to take a gift with you. The sign on the counter said, box of senbei, 1,200 yen. Box of senbei wrapped in handmade woodblock print, 1,300 yen. And that 100 yen would come to us, $1. So we'd sell the print for $1. Tsushima-san made a bunch of them. I made the poster for the shop. The guy said, yeah, we'll try this. Sounds cool. Love to help you out. Not one person. Not one. And this was up there for like 6 months or so. Not one person thought this was worth spending the extra 100 yen on. Not one person. Okay, plan B. That doesn't mean it's not a viable idea, a small failure. The deal about failure, try and try and try again. Okay, so there is an idea there. But the little test case we did not look promising. It would be different if we had a name and a reputation. Box of senbei, 1,200 yen. Box of senbei with woodblock print from the globally famous Mokuhankan workshop, 1,300 yen. Yeah, then it would fly because the person receiving it, oh my God, from those, oh wow, thank you. So I'm still convinced it could work, but it ain't going to be easy. We've got white noise. We've got the fan. Show if I lean towards the computer here. Right, there it is. If I turn away, there it is. So we're picking up my computer fan. Yeah, there is an idea there. Of course there is an idea there. If we need simple, cheap work for apprentices, then it's just a question of imagination. Get your imagination going and think about it. I'm sure there's an answer through it, And you could actually even say that it doesn't matter. The apprentice could make work and just throw it on the floor. It wouldn't matter. We've got this fabulous Patreon campaign behind us, at the moment. It's over $4,000 a month now coming into us from Patreons who are giving this money to us to help us solve these kind of problems. At the moment, it's mostly going to rent for this empty building, but it's there. So I shouldn't exaggerate that part of it. We could take the beginner's prints and just throw them on the floor, or send them to Patreon people and stuff like this. Of course we could. So that part of it actually isn't so much of a problem. The difficult one is identifying the people who are physically capable of doing this work, who want to do it, who want to invest the X years it's going to take to get there, and who are then going to stay and be good at it and be happy once they're up and running. How do I identify such people? It's funny, it's not a paradox, but there's really something about it. The guys I know here in Tokyo, the craftsmen, Matsuzaki-san, Seki-san, Ito-san, the old carver and stuff, the people that I've met during the years when I was first here in Tokyo, the guys currently working in this business, I can't say all of them, because that's a blanket statement I can't back up. Far and away, most of them, those guys, they're people my age or over who are making woodblock prints here in this past few decades. Almost none of them chose the job. They were just sent to it when they were teenage boys. A few of them, Mitamura-san, Tetsui-san, they did it because their father did it. So a few of them were following in the father's footsteps. So that was sort of understandable. But far and away, most of them just got sent there. They didn't choose it. People didn't choose their job back then. But having said that, these guys, all of them, they're happy doing what they're doing. They dig it. They feel special. They feel like they're doing something interesting and useful for society. They're happy in their work, and almost none of them chose this. Is that a paradox, or is it, I don't know. Should I project a society where we have high schools, and then after high school, everybody gets this, or during high school, everybody gets this aptitude test. And then once you graduate from high school or middle school or wherever you decide to do this, your aptitude shows this. Go. You go there, start working there. No, not your choice, not your choice. The system has decided for you. Go and do it. Trust me, it'll be okay. You'll be happy in 40 years. Well, we can't do that. But that's what it was like. That's what it was like. The first weeks for those kids was god-awful. They were beaten, sometimes beaten physically, they were beaten mentally, they were paid almost nothing, they were yelled at, because that's the way the system worked. But once they get through that, and maybe they've forgotten the bad times, I don't know. You talk to Kubota-san, he hasn't forgotten the bad times. He said, man, I got bruises on my shoulders. He just hit me. He threw my work in the fireplace, in the stove. He talks about being brutalized physically and emotionally, and he's so happy to talk about this. Man, but I got through it. Look at, and he knows he's a good craftsman. I don't know. These days we're so kind and gentle with everybody because it seems like the humane thing to do. I'm so polite with all the people here. Of course, we don't brutalize anybody. It's just like normal. What else are you going to do? Of course. And yet, those guys became such strong craftsmen. So is it possible to create strong craftsmen in a friendly environment? And so far, the evidence that's facing me says no. Our most productive people here, Kubota-san, he's a printing machine. Chiharu-san, she works in Nagano. She's a printing machine. Yamamoto-kun, the young boy doing our great waves. They're on one side. Then on the other side, we've got people like Ayumi-san, Ishikawa-san, who trained here with me. They're all nice workers. They're all fine workers. But productivity count, those guys, the ones who trained in the brutal workshop, my God, they're printing machines. They're printing machines. Oh, it's this hard times create. So there's something else. So, but how many didn't make it through? So this is confirmation bias. The ones I'm looking at now, the Kubota-san, Chiharu-san, they're the ones that made it through that. 9 kids ran away for every one that made it. I don't know the numbers. I don't know. So how much collateral damage was there? Of course, I don't know. That's why I said I'm just putting the idea out here. I see the results of this. I see these wonderfully strong craftsmen, and they came out of a strong environment. And what's the word? A brutal environment. I don't know the word to use. Where was I? I was carving something here. I can't find it. Here it is. So all these things buzz in my head, as the leader of this workshop here, Of course I'm not going to start punching these people out in any way, mentally or emotionally, but. These days, the only way through this, I guess, is to make them do it to themselves. You have to show these people, or somehow you've got to provide an environment that is so interesting and that has a goal that is so attractive. You have to do those two things. Make it so that people just, oh my God, I want to do whatever it takes to get there. And then they will self-select. They will leave, or they will fail, or the 1 in 10 or whatever the number is, they will get there because they themselves have driven themselves towards that goal. That's what I did, of course. There was nobody pushing me. So that's the only possible way through this conundrum. You have to make it so the goal is right there, this big juicy carrot, and make it so that, oh my God, I want to do that, I want to do that. And provide the environment and the training and the information where they can get through and do that. The motivation has to come from themselves. That's what's happened to Sugi-san upstairs. Ishikawa-san, she is a housewife. Did you see those umbrella prints she printed? My God! Because the motivation has been her own motivation. Yeah, we did 9, 10. I got to do a bit more carving here. We have a show and tell, as I said. We have a show and tell. We're going to look at some printed matter today. Insatsubutsu. I'm not sure if our friend Jacques from Holland is here today. He sometimes stays up late. Remind me about this time change. Now that the time has changed, is it later for everybody or earlier for everybody? Like the Europeans that are here, it was already late in the evening. But now that we've had the time change, is it much later or are you earlier in the evening now? I still don't get how this works, I'm sorry. It's later, Soka. So we're losing our European people in the summertime. Soka. The reason I ask about Jacques is because he will already know what we are talking about, I think. If I mention the words Shukan Asahi, Jacques will know what we're going to show in the show and tell here today. It's funny talking about the time change stuff now. Of course, it's a huge topic, isn't it? Myself now, having lived in Japan now for 35, 36 years, Japan doesn't do this anymore. They did it for a while after the war, but they don't do it anymore. So it's now been 35 years since I've done that. So I really don't have much good memory of what it's like. I mean, I've had time changes. You go traveling to Canada, you have to switch your body clock, of course, but this twice a year thing, forward, back, I haven't done it now for 36 years, so I can't really be part of that conversation because I don't have a sense of what it's like, you know. For me now, I just laugh. I hear there's a time change coming up. Dave's stream stays the same all the time, you know. Or should I have changed my stream time 1 hour earlier to make it so that it didn't change for you guys? I don't know. I suppose that's something I could have thought about. Oh, it's time. Hi. Time. Okay. Show time. Oh, Jacques is here. Jacques, you're up late tonight, the show. Okay, a couple of things. I don't remember what we mentioned on the stream today. There's news today. There's news. What we're going to show you here is related to this. I'm going to put a link in the chat. These are about the most famous prints we've ever talked about here at Mokuhanka. There's a series of prints that were featured in some of our videos. These are the Genji Monogatari prints designed by Okada Yoshio back in the late 1970s. We've got the 4 prints in our collection. They're stunningly interesting. Many people want them. The news is Okada-san has passed away. He died on January 31st, about 7 weeks ago. He's now no longer with us. So his copyrights are going to become open. His copyrights become open January the 1st, 2092. 2092 is when his copyrights become free. So it's not a factor. I cannot wait that long. In Japan, it's death plus 70. What we have here, these are what we call kirinuki. These are clippings from a magazine. This is the Shukan Asahi magazine. And Jacques over there, who is on this stream here today, he and I have been fooling around where we can, gathering information about Okada-san and his prints and how that set came to life. And there's confusion about which came first, the book or the magazine or the prints or whatever. And it's clear now that what came first was a set of magazine stories. Magazine stories. The literary phenomenon known as Tanabe Seiko, a woman here in Japan who became famous taking old literature and putting it into modern Japanese style. She got the job to do the Genji Monogatari in a weekly magazine, and it was a 3-page version of each of the chapters in the weekly magazine, and Okada-san got the job of illustrating it. So what we see here are magazines. These are torn out pages from a magazine in 1970. Oh, I didn't check. If Jacques is still here, maybe he knows the date. I think they're 1970 something. And this is the original form that print series took. This is all getting very, browny. These are magazine pages from the 1970s. And he did watercolors. He didn't make woodblock prints. He did watercolor pictures. This is how they were introduced to the world. You've seen this one. This was one of the ones that later on became a woodblock print. And the story, each version of the story had at least 2 pictures. Sometimes it was a full-page picture plus something else. And it went on for a very, very, very long time. Each of the original 54 chapters was broken up into 3 segments and then put into the magazine. You've seen this one. So, okay, no problem. We've seen these 4 pictures before. I'm not going to sit here and flip through all of them. What I wanted to show was this stack is not even a complete set of them. I am missing a bunch of them. But 4 of the ones from here became woodblock prints. But every single one of these kirinuki in this stack has still more. Okada-san totally went to town on this. There are, there's 154 times 3 is about 150 of these clippings, and each one has 2 of these designs. So there are about 300 of these watercolor paintings from Okada-san. I'm just going to flip through a couple of these, flip through of these. Now, again, they have meaning. People who know the Genji Monogatari, they know the story, they know who was who, they know what was going on. These are all they're illustrations of episodes. These are not random art created out of nothing. They are illustrations in the sense of there's a specific action, a specific person doing a specific thing. And it happened, it was a weekly magazine, there's 150 issues. So this was over a period of about 3 years. So Okada-san must have simply had his weekly deadline. He had to produce 2 of these things every week for about 3 years. And it just goes on and on and on and on. And they haven't been collected into a book. There's no other place to see them. The only place that these things are now left for inspection are in 1970s. So that's 45-year-old copies of these magazines. That's the only place that these pictures now still exist. as to what he would have gotten, what was he paid. Of course, I know nothing absolutely about this whatsoever. He was a well-known illustrator and a well-respected illustrator. He was not sort of capital F famous. Look at this. Cinematic, you know. I talked about this somewhere. I showed some of these images before and talked about this one. I showed this in one of my videos when we were talking. Okada-san visited me one day, and we had been looking at some of these illustrations. And I mentioned that it was, I forget the words, of course, it was cinematic, and perhaps did you feel reference from Akira Kurosawa? And he's like, yes! And he and I had the idea that at some point when David's workshop had improved to some extent, when I spoke to him, this was 1989 is when he visited my house and we talked about doing work together. And at that time he thought I wasn't good enough, and anyway I was busy. But at that time we talked about it, that the idea that Dave would maybe do some of Okada-san's work some point in the future. And he's gone. He's now gone. So the copyrights, of course, are in the possession of his family. I believe he had no children, although I'm not 100% sure of that. His Wikipedia page doesn't mention it. And where are the originals? They either got thrown on the floor in the photography studio in the Asahi, or they went back to his house and his family owns them. If there is a family, I don't know. And these are all watercolor. These are all watercolors. And you know, 4 of them did become woodblocks. The Saeki-san, the guy who ran the Yu-Yudo company, he saw this happening, I guess. I don't know the origin story, but he saw this happening back in the 1970s. And I assume he perhaps approached Okada-san, or maybe Okada-san approached him. Again, I don't know the origin. And the idea was born to take some of these things, or to take all of them at some point, and to eventually do a set of woodblock prints of the entire Genji story. And they started with 4 of them. The 4 of them that you know, that I own. The 4 of them that you own. And I've never heard the story from Okada-san's side, but I heard the story from Saeki-san's side. And it was a story of, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Heavy demands. We would make a beautiful print. We proof it, and he says, so that's close, but sorry guys, get back to work. And the struggle between the publisher and the designer was so vast, and so much money was invested that Saeki-san just gave up. They put those 4 of them into the marketplace, and the idea of doing any more was just, that's it, sorry, gone, we're out of here, not going to happen. This is Okada Yoshio. There's no funny spelling. It's just like it sounds. Okada Yoshio. I'm not going to go through the whole deck here because I don't have 6 hours to do this, but it goes on. We are now up to 8. There's 158 of these things in this stack. We're now up to number 8. It's an absolutely astonishing body of work. They're not all perfect, drop dead to die for things that I would want to make a print of, but my God. No, there's no scans. There's nothing. There's nothing. The reason I've got these is this came up on a Yahoo auction a while back, and some lady, some housewife back in the 1970s who was interested in Genji Monogatari, she read this magazine and she just clipped these. She tore the pages out of the relevant magazine before trashing the magazine, and she stacked them up on her little bookshelf. And then this had wandered out to Yahoo auctions. It was about 6 months or so ago. And I have a keyword search in Yahoo auctions. If Okada Yoshio comes up, let me know immediately. And this did come up. So of course I bought these, and nobody bid on it. I think it was, Jacques, do you remember, 200 yen or something? I think the auction start price was 200 yen. Nobody bid on it. So I got this stack for 200 yen plus 1,000 yen shipping, whatever it was. Nobody wants this. So do you remember the number, Jacques? Was it 200 yen or something? I don't remember. I must have mentioned it to you in an email back and forth, Jacques and I have been, watching this stuff, looking for this stuff. Jacques is interested, too, in the origin story of those woodblock prints. I don't get this. With this face, I'm sorry. I don't think Okada-san does children correctly. This is where I get off the bus. Sorry, this one, no. And, we've talked about this before with Japanese designers, with cats or dogs or whatever. And we will see this many times in this whole series. Okada-san, to my way of thinking, simply doesn't do children. He tries, and it's his style, and whatever it is, what it is, but I don't think it works. You may have a different approach, that's fine. And he's not the only Japanese artist. Traditional ukiyo-e artists had huge trouble with children. Huge trouble. Generic landscape here. Not so excited about that one. Okay, I've marked a couple of these before I just roll ahead and move on. There are a couple I want to show you because there are some that I think, if I had permission from the family, let me skip forward here. Oops. Get these things all mixed up. There are some that I would like to try. What do you think? If, this is capital I, capital F. I haven't approached the family, but on our list of things that Dave would like to do, and we're talking, 30, 40, 50 blocks, whatever it takes. What's on her forehead? These are Heian era women. The makeup thing in those days, they shaved off their natural eyebrows. Now you can look this up. I'm not the source of authority on here. My understanding is they shaved off their natural eyebrows and they painted makeup eyebrows, something above that. I don't know the why or how or where of it, but this whole series, you see this on every woman in here. They painted eyebrows. I think I could invest some time making an interesting woodblock print out of this one. And I think there would be response in the market. Actually, I haven't been through this entire stack, I've just dipped into it at random. And that one popped up at me. So there may be more glorious images in here. Here's another one that Dave has marked for looking at. Oh, yeah. This wasn't that I want to make this one, but I just want to show you. So the old hair thing, well... in for a dime, in for a dollar. So I don't think I would make this one, but I had to show it to you. Look at the hair. Look at the hair. Whatever, whatever. Anyway, as I said, we could sit here all day looking at these things. The purpose in showing you these today is a couple of things. To let you know that this thing, the Okada Yoshio Genji Monogatari, this thing does exist. It's out there in the world. At the moment, it's not accessible at all. It's completely hidden away. It exists. He has now passed away. His copyrights are presumably legally in the hands of his family. But he had no kids. I guess there was limits on what he could show in a family magazine. This was a public family magazine. There was limits as to what he could do with this. But there's an idea, if you think behind this, you think behind this. This was a public magazine in 1977. But he may have other versions of these prints. You know, he had models, he drew, he sketched from models. They came to his home, he drew them. Can you imagine a real-life Shunga, which wasn't bowdlerized, which wasn't safetyized, with the kimono? Whatever. So at the moment, today, here now, we are not going to do anything about this. But when enough time has passed, I'm going to drop a note to his wife, if she's still alive. I've met her. I was over there. Sadako and I visited his house one day, I don't know, 1995 or something, I don't know. So I've met his wife, she knows me. So he's been dead for 7 weeks, we're going to wait a while. Then I'm going to go and establish contact with the family. And we'll see what we can do. There's nothing else I can do right now. But I want to establish contact, and we'll see. And if the Mokuhankan workshop does keep building, if our workshop does expand, if we do have, you know, a row of printers working here, if I do have the resources, look at this. We could go to town on this. So there you are. Dream on. Don't get too excited. There's nothing I can do about this right now. I'm only 70. I got, 30 years left maybe. Can I? I don't know. Who knows? We'll see. Okay, I'll leave that with you there. It's Thursday. I will be back here in 2 more days. I'm still not through this stupid little block. I've just been so busy with other stuff. On Saturday, I might be finishing off this block. I might be doing something else, the next one already. I don't know. I can't tell you. So in other words, somebody says, I'd settle for a book with these images, and that is another idea. And that is something. So if I go to see her, and if I try and wrap in, Mokuhankan would like to do something with these images. Step 1, a book. Step 2, as our printers get to it, some more prints. So we will see. Again, no promises, but there's an idea on the table. Okay, I am out of here. Cameron is going to be here. He's not on the stream, right? He's gone. I hope he's on the train already. Cameron's coming over this morning. We're going to talk and walk. I'll see you Saturday morning. I think we got a lot of stuff done today. Thank you very much, and see you in a couple of days. We usually pop up the outside. I think instead of popping up the outside, let me do 3 more. I'll show 3 more, and then we'll sign off. Kimono. Insane. There are so many talented people in this world. So many people. Another full focus shot from the long distance camera. These are watercolors. Watercolors. I have no idea if the original paintings still exist. Okay, gang. That's all for now. See you next time. Thank you very much. Bye for now.